Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. We're on our second video discussing Greg Grippo and Victoria Fuller on Nick Viall's podcast, The Viall File. In the first video, if you didn't watch, go check that out. That's where Victoria really begins the sort of untangling of the Christmas lights, as it were, with her relationship with Johnny. Now, Johnny has responded. Okay, Johnny has responded, and then he deleted his response. It's right there. We have a screen grab of it. I'm going to share what Johnny has to say. It's not extremely interesting, but it is career focused. So in this video, we're going to go through the timeline of Victoria Fuller discussing how she intended to help Johnny with his careers and his insecurity about not feeling good enough for her, and also her feelings about Tyler interjecting on their reunion episode of Bachelor in Paradise. So we're going to get to all of that, where she says he wasn't being transparent and she felt lied to, and that right now. In the third video, which we have a lot to get into, in our third video right after this, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, we're going to get into the Greg Grippo part, how Rome changed everything. Victoria admits to initiating the conversation with Greg Grippo after breaking up with Johnny. And all of that, you guys, if you want, can discuss on Dave Neal's community on Facebook. Dave Neal's community is a free community. We have a little comment thread going. I do like what Sarah had to say. She said, I think Victoria owned up to her part of the toxic relationship. I actually believe her that he said effing C because she had a pretty detailed story, but I also believe he probably said the next Bachelor thing as a joke and she was drunk, so she flew off the handle. It does really seem like she had Greg waiting in the wings and that she didn't communicate clearly that they were over. Yeah, at the very least, I don't think wine is a good thing for her in this relationship. As we know, she's there's been neighbor complaints and she was got a bad review for trashing an Airbnb. So I really feel like wine might not be something that pairs well with Victoria Fuller. What does this smell like? Drama. Okay, I'm picking up notes of tea. Okay, so anyway, let's get into it. Here's what was said about the career goals and the age gap and how she feels Johnny lied to her.
Johnny and I, and you see this in the show where I'm like, what are your career goals? And, I'm trying to understand kind of where he is in his life. I'm pretty set in my career right now and I have, the world ahead of me, and not to say that he doesn't, but I really wanted to pinpoint where he was. He's 25.
What do you mean? I said Victoria's got a sponsorship for Shop Vac. It's like, have you ever shattered glass? Buy a Shop Vac.
29, so there was that age gap.
Or like a ShamWow. You ever spill wine everywhere at an Airbnb? Buy a ShamWow.
And I mean, you can be 25 and that doesn't matter. Age doesn't really matter, but it does matter when I'm at a certain place in life and I want someone to also be there.
You had some concerns or questions.
But Victoria should also have some grace for Johnny, because the only reason she is where she is in her quote unquote career is because of the success she had on a dating reality show, one of which she also just met her fiance on. So her audience is really no better or worse than the one he is building. They're the same people.
Observations.
Some questions.
Yeah, some questions that I just wanted to know.
Okay.
So going from there, when I initially asked Johnny what his job was,
Greg is my mood today.
Owned a bar.
Okay.
And I was like, great. He said he was doing real estate, he owned a bar. And then as time kind of went on, it turned into he managed a bar.
When did you start finding this stuff out?
So he did say he managed a bar on the beach. And I was like, okay, that was kind of my first, light bulb that went off. And that's where their career goal, question, started happening.
We all know people that lie about stuff like this. If this is true that Johnny lied about that, the reason being is probably that he was trying to look good for her. He was trying to demonstrate that he was a suitable partner. Oh, I own a bar. Yeah. And that's a lie. You can't do that. You can't lie. So you got to side with Victoria on this one if that is true.
Because I was like, okay, well, that's,
I'm objective.
Now you're managing it.
And objectively, my hair looks good today. Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? And I'm not shitting on anyone that manages a bar. I think that's a great life, whatever.
You just wanted to know what he did and wanted to do.
Because then there was
bar managers, it's a very hard job. They have to pick up broken glass everywhere. If it ain't about the party, Papa just don't care.
Discrepancy with the story. And then from there, when we got off the beach, it turned into he wasn't managing this bar anymore. He actually was just bartending there. And then the bar was closed down. So he didn't have like a steady source of income, which is fine. We all go through like a period of time when we get off the show where we're not exactly sure what we're going to be doing. I experienced that. A lot of people do. But I just felt like maybe he wasn't being fully transparent.
Fair. She felt like he wasn't being fully transparent. That is a fair, and again, coming from Victoria, doesn't mean I don't believe her. It just means there's her side, his side, and then my side. That's it, well, there's Victoria's side, then there's Dave Neal's side. I don't have a side, folks. I'm not on a team. I am as objective as this hairline. All right, rap producer. Let's go to the 26-minute mark. I took notes. I woke up on vacation for you guys. 26, and then, me and that Irish guilt. I took notes. I'm on vacation. So who is going to hit the like button? Make sure you hit the like button for the algorithm. Let's go to that rap part.
Even like coming off, he had ambitions of wanting to do like his rap career. And I was like more than supportive of that. I hooked him up with a producer in Nashville, and like we were going to like book a studio for him. I mean, I wasn't shitting on him for not like having these, like not having a set job right when he got off. I was just like, what can we do in order to like make this situation?
Okay. So when it comes to her saying the relationship, could end quickly and she can move on because they were only dating, they fell in love for 3 weeks, no big deal, it was only short time. But likewise, in looking at it the other way, it's good to have these conversations, but she's acting like his HR person. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? He's like, I don't know. I just banged on a beach. I haven't thought that far. Like, where did Victoria see herself in 5 years? She went on a dating show and started getting influencer deals, right? But I can understand her concern, and at the same time, it's like a lot of times when you want to help other people, you then get bitter and resentful if they don't like do what you want to do. So she's like, I'm trying to help them. It's kind of like how Nick's girlfriend said, Nick only tried to help Katie Thurston when they had that mess. Nick was only trying to help Katie Thurston and she wouldn't take his advice. It's like, well, maybe she didn't value the advice he was giving, and maybe Johnny wasn't able to see the world in the way Victoria was trying to open the door for him. But it does seem like she had his best intention. I'll give her that.
Good for you, because I want you to succeed and I want you to be the best person that you can be, because I wouldn't have gotten engaged to him if I didn't see his full potential and who he was. Like, he is a good person, and I just think, I don't know.
How did he respond to that? I mean, did that cause fights? I mean, like you talked about your relationship being toxic.
Yeah.
Like how did you guys fight? Like, because this all sounds relatively healthy, yeah. Johnny, I can understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. Like, meeting someone you didn't know existed, 3 weeks later you're engaged. I mean, you chose to take that risk. But I guess I can understand the frustration. Did you feel like, were you questioning who you got engaged to?
Yes, absolutely. And that was a conversation too that we had. It was like, I feel like you're a completely different person when we got off the beach.
And that's what you get. Like Nick said, you take that risk meeting someone on a beach. You take the risk of talking the talk and not necessarily being able to walk the walk. That's what went down here. But of course, we don't know all of the pressures that went into these conversations, where like it might be better that he's getting career counseling from like a male friend than from her. But at the same time, a lot of times, like we say, relationships are dessert, not the main course. You shouldn't go into a relationship where you both are just getting off of a reality TV show. That's just not normal. He's going to be exposed to all these new opportunities. And then after like figuring it all out and having a steady passion and all that security, then you can have the relationship, which should be a little more stable than the flightiness of like getting yourself off the ground after being on a reality show.
And then how did he respond to that? Is that what caused the fight?
Yeah, I think I was trying not to be frustrated, but I was. And I think he could sense that. And I think the comment he makes about not feeling good enough, it was never me putting him down. I think that was just his own insecurity coming out, because I did whatever I could to help him. And I constantly was saying, if you want to be a rapper, I'm going to put you with a producer. I'm going to blast you all over every social media that I have. So I was always supportive of whatever he did. If he wanted to be an Uber driver, go for it. Like, I don't fucking care. But like, find something that you love and stick to it. And it felt very much like well, I think I want to be a real estate agent one day, and I think I want to do this, which is fine. You're just trying to figure it out. But that's frustrating for somebody who thought that they were engaged to somebody who already had it figured out.
Totally fair. Totally fair. You can like, even Victoria can want to hold him to a standard that she might not be held to. I don't know what her passions are. Going to Chase Rice concerts? I don't know. She might have good passions. I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she's developing a new shatterproof wine glass. We don't know what she's doing, right, folks? My poor wife over there is like, what am I dealing with? But either way, she can want that, and she can feel like she entered a contract of love, and that it didn't he didn't he didn't rise up to his end of the bargain. But then again, this is just through her perspective,
working it out with this person. And I've had many of conversations with Johnny over and over and over again about how I can't do this. I can't stay in this relationship.
What did he say?
He wanted to work on it, and I totally understand that. I think it was really hard for him to wrap his mind around why I was so upset by those things, because it was very minimized, especially him calling me the effing C word, because he even downplayed it to the therapist, and she kind of had to correct him and be like, no, this isn't right. So I think that was not, I don't want to say his norm, but maybe his communication style and his previous relationships that's worked for him.
How many serious relationships?
Yeah, so it's a good point she's got there, where we can see her trying to empathize with Johnny to say, all right, he called me those words, but maybe that was just like what he knew. I mean, we all know those people that just yell nonstop. Coming from our families for Thanksgiving, certain family members yell, and their communication styles are so wrong, but that's all they know. Now, that's not an excuse for it, but that can be changed over time if all are willing. They never got to that point here. So let's just jump into his response. We're going to get into Johnny's response. This is a response that he made that was deleted. Again, it's nothing fantastic, but this is what he said, which I'm assuming was deleted because I no longer see it on his page. He said, yes, it was just a dream at one point, but I will say, if you have a dream, please go for it. Don't let anyone tell you differently or bring you down. 100. P.S. I still got bars. Now, it doesn't make much sense, and he puts a little black heart over whatever he was working on there. It doesn't make much sense because this doesn't address a lot of these things happening. It doesn't address a lot of what Victoria said, and Victoria does sound like she wanted to support him. I don't think Victoria, because I see this all the time with people like shaming people for their creative endeavors. The thing you have to realize with like real creative endeavors is that the majority of people aren't going to believe in you until you've got some sort of tangible result. Releasing an album, getting on Spotify, those types of things. They're just not going to believe in you because we just have that sort of shame in society when it comes to the arts. We really do. And that's okay. But it looked to me that Victoria wasn't trying to shame him in any which way. It looked like she would have promoted his Facebook flyer if he was a real estate agent, or whatever the case may be. It looks like that's what she would have done, because that's what you do. You promote each other's stuff there. So I don't know. But he deleted it anyway. He felt like it, I don't know why he deleted it, but it obviously, I'm assuming he got flack from people, and that's that. So if he is going to respond, it probably should be in podcast form. And it's going to be one of those things. There's so much that is said, and it's so complicated that I don't see any real winners here. We are going to get more into the timeline in the next video. The timeline includes how the moment Victoria broke down, we really get to see that moment where she went from having fun to being really upset. And you really get to see that moment we saw on Pilot Pete's season, where she's kind of just like frustrated and angry and sad. And that's okay. She should be. I mean, she's been raked through the coals here. But to say, was it... the fan base will always, like I always say, the fan base will always swing too far with the pendulum. But I don't think it's unfair to question the timeline when the relationship plays out on the TV, everyone's watching it, and then all of a sudden something else is going down. You've got people on all sides interjecting. I don't think it's unfair to have that discussion. I wouldn't, and I always recommend I always advise don't bring it to their DMs, don't bring it to their personal lives, this and that. You can have those conversations. They didn't sign up for the negativity, but they certainly signed up for people to speculate. That's just part of it. So keep it kind out there. Like I said, we're going to get into the in the next video. Let me pull up the thumbnail right now. In the next video, we're going to get into Victoria really explaining how she got things going with Greg. I'm also going to share what I believe to be a receipt that kind of counters one of her claims, but we'll get into all of that in the next video. We'll see you shortly.